Okay, let's talk about something truly exciting. We might be looking at one of the biggest breakthroughs in dementia prevention we've seen in decades.
You know, for years, we've all been hoping for something we could actually do to protect our brains. Well, it turns out the science is finally in, and the results, they are absolutely stunning. So let's just start with a question that's on everybody's mind. I mean, we've all seen the ads, the apps, the puzzles, all of them making big promises. But do these brain games really work when it comes to something as serious as preventing dementia? And here's the honest, uncomfortable truth. For the vast majority of them, the answer is no. Most of the commercial brain games you see out there, they just don't have the rigorous, long-term scientific proof to back up a claim like dementia prevention. It's a tough thing to hear, but we have to start there to get to the good stuff. But, and believe me, this is a huge but, there is one very specific type of cognitive training that totally breaks the mold. It really stands alone, and it's backed by some of the most powerful scientific proof we have ever seen in this field. And that is what we're going to break down right now. So let's dive right into the evidence. We're talking about a study called the ACTIVE study. That stands for Advanced Cognitive Training for Independent and Vital Elderly. Now, this isn't just another research paper, folks. This is the landmark trial that basically changed everything we thought we knew. So what makes this study the absolute gold standard? Well, it's three things. First, it was a randomized controlled trial. That's the best possible way to prove cause and effect. Second, they followed people for an incredible 20 years. And third, the scale was just massive. We're talking nearly 3,000 people. This is as good as scientific evidence gets. Just take a second to let that number sink in. 2,802 participants, and these were all cognitively healthy older adults, all living on their own when the study kicked off. So this wasn't some small niche group. This was a big, diverse slice of the population. And the timeline here is it's extraordinary. The study started all the way back in 1998, and the researchers tracked these same people for 2 full decades. I mean, that long-term view is exactly what makes these findings so powerful and so trustworthy. So here's the setup. The researchers split everyone into different groups. One group got memory training, learning little tricks to remember lists and stories. Another group got reasoning training, solving puzzles and looking for patterns. And a third group got something that sounds totally different, speed training, which was all about identifying objects on a computer screen as fast as possible.
Oh, and of course there was a control group that did no training at all, so they had something to compare it to. All right, so fast forward 20 years. What did they find? The results were just mind-blowing. The memory training group? Nope, no significant drop in dementia risk. The reasoning group? Same story, nothing significant. But the speed training group, they showed a nearly 25% reduction in the risk of dementia. Let that sink in. Only one of the 3 trainings actually worked. This, of course, leads to the giant question, why? Why on earth did speed training work so well when the others didn't? Well, to get it, we need to talk about how our brains learn. And there's this fantastic analogy that just makes the whole thing click. See, it really comes down to 2 totally different ways of learning. The memory and reasoning training, they use something called explicit learning. Think of it like cramming for a test. You're consciously trying to memorize facts, and you know that knowledge can fade pretty quickly. But speed training uses implicit learning. This is like learning to ride a bike. It's not something you memorize, it's a skill that becomes automatic. It actually rewires your brain in a much deeper, more permanent way. Dr. Henry Mornay, one of the brilliant scientists involved in this, put it perfectly. He said, once you learn to ride a bike, even if you don't touch one for 20 years, your brain is fundamentally different. You now have a bike-riding brain. And that's exactly what speed training does. It creates these lasting physical changes in how your brain actually processes the world. So what does this exercise actually look like? Well, it's a lot simpler than you might think. Imagine an object, like a car, flashes right in the middle of your screen. At the exact same time, another object pops up somewhere in your peripheral vision. Your job is to identify both of them really quickly. And the cool part is, as you get better, the program automatically gets faster and a little bit harder. You can kind of think of it like the mental workout you get when you're driving. You're focusing on the road ahead, but you're also tracking everything going on around you. Look, this science is incredible, but the absolute best part is that you can actually use it. So let's turn these amazing findings into a practical brain protection plan that you could literally start today. The research really gives us a clear roadmap. It all starts with the speed training itself. And get this, the study showed that just 10 hours of initial training made a massive difference.
Then you can add some booster sessions a year or 3 later. Now, of course, it's absolutely crucial to combine this with all the other healthy habits we know about. Good diet, exercise, sleep. You got to think of this as one really powerful new tool in your toolkit, not some magic bullet. And you don't have to wonder where to find this stuff. The exact training they used in the active study is available to everyone in a program called Brain HQ. It's the same kind of exercise, the same adaptive technology that produced those unbelievable 20-year results. Now, of course, any good science is going to have some skepticism and critical thinking, and while the active study is totally groundbreaking, it's really important to understand the nuances and some of the questions that other experts in the field are asking. You know, they raised some really valid points. We still need to pin down the exact mechanism in the brain that creates this protective shield. We also want to confirm that the at-home online version is just as effective as the in-person training they did in the original study. And of course, everybody agrees this should not be your only strategy for brain health. It's one piece of the puzzle. The great news is the science doesn't just stop here. An even bigger study called the PACT study is already going on right now. We're talking 7,500 people. It's designed to confirm and build on these findings. So this just shows how seriously the scientific community is taking this research. We're going to know even more in the next few years. But let's just bring it back to the most astonishing fact in all of this. 10 hours. That was the initial dose of training. Just 10 hours of this specific exercise was enough to give people a measurable protective benefit 2 decades down the road. I mean, the return on investment for your time is just completely off the charts. As Professor Marilyn Albert, who is one of the study's lead authors, put it, we now have gold standard proof that there is something tangible, something significant that we can do to lower our risk. This isn't just wishful thinking anymore. This is real hard evidence. So I'll just leave you with this question to think about. After seeing all this evidence, after understanding the science behind it, what could putting in those 10 hours of training really mean for the health of your brain over the next 20 years? For you, or maybe for someone you love? The answer to that question could be absolutely life-changing.